MMM used to be kind of clunky. Like these guys used to do it like for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now it's like, what, you can just sort of apply something in a web browser or a piece of software and shove it in.
Maybe. This is the part where your sort of initial definition of a model becomes really important, because an MMM or a model in general is only as good as its assumptions match onto the question that you're trying to answer. You can do really simple models that are technically MMMs, but the problem is often that the assumptions of those very simple models do not map onto the real world very well, and therefore they generate bad results.
Representation of yeah, I know. It's as good as like how you configure a piece of software to use for whatever, really.
The big issue with MMM is that all of the off-the-shelf tools, I believe, do not actually have a good mapping between the assumption that the model is making in the real world. And therefore, they generally lead to pretty crazy results that are incorrect and do not make sense. That is sort of the fundamental problem of media mix modeling in most situations and how it has mostly been done historically.
Yeah.
What are some examples of that? So Robin, Google Lightweight MMM, every other off-the-shelf tool, what most consultants do, make a fundamental assumption that over the time period being analyzed, the marketing, the ROI of a channel is fixed and doesn't change. Over the last 2 years, Facebook has had an ROI of 3.4, they will tell you. That doesn't make sense. No marketer believes that that is true, right? No marketer believes that like one channel has a consistent ROI over a long time period. All of those models make that assumption. And so to the extent that like the underlying truth varies from that assumption, to the extent that there actually are changes in that underlying ROI, the model will potentially not fit well. That's sort of like the best case scenario, because then at least you know that it's wrong. Or the model will think that it fits well, but will just give you bad answers. And it's very difficult as a marketer to know which of those, to know if that's the case. And so what you'll see is that like there are a lot of sort of ways to do MMM out in the world. Like you can do it in a Google Sheet, you can run a regression, but those are not very sophisticated. They don't match on to like the way the world actually works. You can use more sophisticated tools like Robin, still not sophisticated enough because it still doesn't map onto the way the world works. And what we've seen in practice is that people who use Robin end up not actioning off of it because they don't believe the results are accurate, because the results aren't actually accurate because of all of these underlying fundamental problems. And so the real, I think, the real trick to media mix modeling is that you need to have a really good model that actually maps onto the way that you believe the world works and the way that it works for your business. And the further that gap is between the assumption the models are making and the way that your business works, the way that you believe that marketing works for your business, the bigger that gap is, the worse the model results are going to be. And MMM is especially pernicious because it's very difficult to know if the model results are accurate or not. Because like some people will be like, oh, look, there's like a really good R squared, or like the accuracy is really good. But like that doesn't actually tell you if the inferences themselves are good, which is like, what are the results that you care about of the model? Because you're not doing a prediction exercise. You're not trying to predict revenue. That's actually a much easier problem than MMM. And so those are where people actually end up running into problems as they're trying to put this into practice at their businesses.